welcome. We have the vocalist and guitarist of the black metal punk trio Black Knife from Kentucky. So cool to catch up with you, man.
Hello, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. We've been
very welcome.
Hanging to catch up with you and big fans of your work. So we've got some questions to pick your brains. So we're pretty excited to rip into those. But before we do that, I do want to give a bit of an overview, just a brief overview of Black Knife to people who might not be familiar with you guys yet.
Which they should be.
Which they should be. And you do have a very good following as it is. Very solid fan base after storming into the scene around 2016. Huge discography since coming in. You know, you've got an array of deadly splits with some fantastic artists of the underground. You got 2 full-length albums in Spellcaster and Murder Season, 2 fucking ripper albums. I always have them on. And of course, the debut self-titled EP as well. You guys have been flat out since starting, and you know, the proof's in your discog, and hats off to you.
Big time, big time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, I attribute that mostly to where I write most of it, like 90% of it, and my brain just never shuts the fuck up. So I just keep hitting record every time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like a lot of black metal and punk, and you know, I've been in other bands in the past, and I've kind of felt like I had to kind of stick to one thing or the other. And this band, I'm just kind of letting it all hang out, and we just rip through, play Blackened punk, and just fucking have fun. And it just keeps flowing, so we just keep hitting record. So yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, bro, don't stop! Don't ever stop.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I'm just gonna hit out straight away with it, and I think it's probably something a lot of people, you know, want to know is like, how does, you know, 2 guys and a woman get together to form a fucking brutal fucking black and deaf metal band, you know, in Kentucky? How did you get together? How did you meet? Have you known each other for a while?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I was in bands like forever and ever ago as a drummer. I was always the drummer in bands. I was in like Cadaver and Drag was my first band. So I was the drummer in that band for years. And then we kind of like, as we split and kind of like went our separate ways, throughout all that, I had always done Glass Coffin, which I think we had talked about a little bit before too. But where I play everything in that, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm already fucking around with guitar. I can already like fake it to make it enough to get by. Like, whatever. So I always tell everybody I don't play a lot very fast. So it's like 3-chord punk, but sped way the fuck up and with just like the kind of vocals.
Yeah, definitely.
And so like, you know, and then from there, I just sort of was jamming with some friends, and then it kind of like mutated into like, well, fuck, what if we recorded a few songs, and what if we did this and this? And then our first drummer, Eddie, or Dead Weird, his girlfriend, Tiffany, she plays bass, she plays guitar, she can play piano, she can do all kinds of cool shit. And I'm like, tell her to bring her bass by. We're already jamming.
An all-rounder.
She just bass, and it sort of like evolved from there. And then our little mess around, just fucking around project became a thing, and now it's like probably the you know, most popular thing I've done so far.
It is
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's
deadly
awesome
stuff. And of course, you are the founder and mastermind of the raw, primitive, very blasphemous black metal solo project in Glass Coffin. Big fans of that project as well. We talk a lot on the podcast around, you know, there's so many solo artists coming out at the moment, and a lot of them are doing it really, really well by creating different projects that actually sound different. But there's some that are doing, you know, 5 of the same thing. And when you listen to Glass Coffin, you know, it's still got those crust punk vibes and tones that Black Knife have. But for me, they're 2 totally separate entities. But from an artist point of view, you know, given that Glass Coffin, I think you started that in around 2009. What was the difference for you going from a solo project, then having to work with these other 2 artists? You know, how did you find that as an artist yourself? And how has this 3-person synergy worked for you in a more positive way or negative way, whichever way it is for you as an artist?
Well, I've found that, like, you know, Glass Coffin was I agree totally. I don't think you should ever just have like 50 of the same project. I don't see the point.
Yeah,
like
we're very passionate about.
We're very, very passionate about that because it comes up a lot.
I know people like that. I've got friends that have 3 death metal bands, and I'm like, that's cool. I mean, I'm not shitting on anybody and what they like. But like, it's just not. I don't see the point. I'm like, why not just write 15 albums for that same band?
Yeah, all the creativity bubble goes in the same band. Yeah.
But that being said, so Glass Coffin was a way for me to. I'd seen bands like Satanic War Master and Akitsa and these kind of bands do like one-man black metal stuff, and I was like, fuck, that's cool. Like you can just do everything and you can do whatever. So I did that as a side project away from my earlier first band, Cadaver and Drag. And then after I had all that time, and I still had that punk energy. I tried to kind of slip in there every now and then, but then as Black Knife developed, I kind of want to get away from that because I'm like, I have a project for that now. I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of have a black metal entity and the other to kind of take more of a punk edge, which I feel like it's kind of done, so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And how did you find going from actually just working on your own, calling your own shots to then working with these other 2 people? Was it an easy transition for you? Because I know some solo artists, having been solo for so long, have had a struggle with it.
Yeah, it's a good vibe because the role in the band essentially is I show up with the songs more or less finished, and I just kind of bounce them off the band. So I'm still pretty much mostly the sole songwriter. I don't want to say I'm the sole songwriter, but it's I show up with a loose, like I like to say, skeletal backbone of a song, and then bounce it off them. And I kind of think it's cool to see what they want to add and do stuff too. And Tiffany always does like fun stuff on bass and doesn't exactly match what I play. And then we're like, oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to like have that.
You can hear that. You can definitely hear that. I mean, that's what makes Black Knife as well. So
yeah.
I fucking love it.
It's fucking loose.
It is. It's very.
I fucking love it.
Yeah. Thank
you.
So
Black Knife started out in a time where black metal projects and bands were storming into the scene, from Portland, Texas. USBM was starting to almost be like a genre to itself, like a new wave of black metal. Did you just sit back and think, I really need to create something next level to what's coming out at this time because it was so saturated, and to steer your sound away from that typical lo-fi USBM sound that was coming out at that time? And you've obviously fueled it with a lot of alcohol, violent, black filth punk lyrics, which we love. What was the secret to the success of creating this sound? Because there's really nothing much like it around.
It's a great theme.
It's a hard thing to do.
It's a great theme. And what you've done is like captured like the whole like that, everything that you want to put into a Black and Deaf, like Kel said, like a alcohol fueled brutality. You are big, a world of this. I'm taken to the darkness where I live. Find your blow to a pile of dust. Throw you in the wind if you fuck with us. You can't get in. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. My songwriting process with that too, like you said, just to sort of separate away from everyone and everything. I didn't really, I don't know, I've never really fit in anywhere. So it was easy for me just to kind of finally fucking be me. Which in bands like that, I feel like those dudes are just doing what they do. And it's fucking weird, and it caught on, and it's cool, and it should have caught on because it's different and it's cool. And I've just been under the like train of thought where like the world will find us or they won't. But it's my time to finally like take my black metal shit, my thrash influence, all this stuff. And I don't give a shit if anybody likes it. I never have. And so it's just kind of worked out. And I feel like, being different is always going to get you farther than trying to just blend in anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Keep it true, man. Keep it true.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So,
but I'm just going to say on the back of that, if with your influences, you've mentioned like when I listened to Black Knife, I was listening to it last week, and I was like, man, I can hear so many OG bands through this, and it's all my favorites from back in the day, like your Killick Frost, your Venom, that first wave black metal, coming through. Especially with in the vocals when you hear the Tom G, Warren,
the Tom Warrior. Ooh.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Is that something you've listened to growing up and infused into Black Knife? How has that come to in your inspiration?
Absolutely, man. So it's like Venom, Celtic Frost. honestly, Kiss. Like I was raised listening to Kiss and the Ramones. I know I've said that in a bunch of interviews, and people are probably like, "We get it, dude. You like Kiss," but like where it comes from. Like, and some of those riffs, and even early Glass Coffin. I saw a review where some dude was like, "Oh, dude, it sounds like a mix between Akitsa, Devil's Dung, and fucking weird Sabbath B-sides." And I was like, first off, I didn't know there was a band called Devil's Dung until that review. And I was like, Devil's Dung. That's awesome. I highly recommend it. I think they've got like one demo or something, but they're fucking sick. But anyway, but yeah, and somebody was even like, yeah, there's like that weird Kentucky swampy, like Sabbathy shit in there hidden just beneath the surface. And I'm like, well, I grew up in Kentucky, man. And like, I get it honest. And so yeah, all your influences do come out when you sit down with the guitar and you just fuck around. It's bound to come out.
Oh, 100%, and you can hear it so definitively. Like it just like it was a time warp. Like if any, like all my old school mates, I've just sent them links to Black Knife and saying, "Fucking listen to this." Like this is what we grew up with, and this is like it's refreshing to see someone actually bring that back out. In such a fashion that it's the professionalism of it is spot on.
It's got a fresher breath air to it too. Like it's resurrecting the old school, but it's got that.
It's fucking my style.
It's fun. It's so fun.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that. I feel like I've just done what it was always too weird to do in the past, or too fucking this or that, and now I think the world is finally just starting to kind of.
Yeah, I think as you get older, as you said before, like you just don't give a fuck what people think. You just do what you want to do, and if people grab onto it, they'll grab onto it. And I think you were saying, like, just then, I think it's just the time, in the age. We go through all these different genres, but you see more so now in Australia, like people wearing like more so battle vests. Getting back into the thrash, old school thrash. So it's a perfect time for Black Knife to be out there and fucking showing it, his stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And the genres and the styles have never been more intermingled, I feel like. And plus just with the internet and just the exposure of everything, it's for what it's worth, it's good. It's a good tool. It's like there's never been more. I mean, we're right here right now doing
exactly
this, networking. And if somebody in like, the horse capital of the world, Lexington, Kentucky, where I live, if they don't get it, fuck them. Maybe these people will get it. And I don't care, and like we just put it out there. So and well for us.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Kentucky, because when people think of USBM, particularly from the 90s, you think of the Cali scene, maybe even Washington. But it's probably fair to say that up until recently, Kentucky was probably one of the more lesser known for the underground, particularly in black metal, punk. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's fast becoming an extreme map in the metal world. You've got bands like Brood in Black, absolutely love them. No one talks about them enough. Of course, Infidium, Black Knife, of course. There's so many. Has your scene always been as strong as it is now and we just weren't aware of this? Or what do you think has occurred to gain its growth? Social media definitely would have played a part in this, but has the metal community there in your local scene grown? Are they getting to gigs more? What's happening in Kentucky?
I just think everything comes in waves. I'm an old guy. I've been doing this for, like I was in punk bands when I was like right out of high school, and it's just all coming in different waves. Metal was a thing that I think the biggest thing in Lexington right now is like stoner metal stuff. Yeah. And so we're still leaving a sore thumb even in our own town, which we plan to get out a lot more. We've got a lot of announcements and stuff where we're going to be touring a lot in 2022, finally.
That's great news.
Seems a little, it's hit and miss. It's just kind of like, I don't know, but there's little pockets that are always cool. You mentioned Brood in Black. Corey is fucking cool. Panopticon, like these bands like that. Yeah, epic Kentucky black metal band. But yeah, not a lot though. There's not a lot like that around here, I have to say.
Oh, well, it seems like there are a lot of bands that are coming out, and there's a lot that I haven't even mentioned, but from the real underground, it's like, oh, they're from Kentucky. Yeah. Like, what's happening in Kentucky? Something's in the water there, but hey, it's great.
Yeah, it's definitely. And like on the back of that with the gig, like he's playing some gigs and some announcements happen. And I was actually going to, ask about, what's happening with gigs, because they seem to be ramping up all around the world, and especially in the US. I've been seeing a lot on social media, a lot of black metal bands playing and stuff like that. So, but what I'm seeing is a lot of black metal bands playing, I think because of the genre, they can only play local gigs, to their town or their state and stuff like that. when I look at Black Knife and the product that you've got, you've got a product that can actually go into different genres, into the punk scene and stuff, and it can be viable to do these tours. So, is that something that Black Knife are looking to do more so of a, tour of the US?
Oh, yeah. As far as gigs and tours and stuff, we're planning on several tours. So my thing, we're wanting to do like an East Coast, like 5 days or so, North 5 days or so, South. And the good thing about Kentucky, we're kind of in the middle of everything. So it's kind of cool that we can kind of like,
Very
put
central.
little pins and go back and do that. So we're wanting to hit some tours. We're on a couple fests and stuff already. Some we can't talk about yet, but yeah, we got some stuff.
That's
going
fantastic.
on. So, yeah, it should be cool.
Because you have a pretty good following as well, on the socials as well. So I mean, your fan base is growing. So that's why it's
and we're eternally grateful for that. Everybody's been super cool, which is just really weird because it's like, we were talking to these labels that kind of ghosted us. And they're like, yeah, we want to put this out. And then I was like, okay, guys, cool. And then we put it out and sold out our album in like 2 days, the first one.
Wow.
The first press. And then we've repressed it a couple times, repressed the CDs 3 times and the tapes like once. And I was like, I fucking told you guys. Like, I was like, it's a pretty good album. Like, you sure? And everybody's like, they kind of ghosted us. So it's kind of like a fuck you to them that I love that our fans have been there for us.
Totally.
Yeah.
We just put it out ourselves and they have single-handedly like scooped it up and just shown us so much support. So we appreciate that.
Yeah,
That's
man.
fantastic.
Congratulations to these guys, because that's,
Yeah, thank
the
you.
proof's in the pudding, man. The proof's in the pudding.
Let's talk about these albums, because for me, these are just like Spellcaster and Murder Season. They're just two fun, livid, obnoxiously heavy albums, and I absolutely love them. They're such pumped up, slimy tracks like Bloodbath Orgy. These are some of my favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already reviewed this album, but World of Piss is an absolute firecracker. I love that track.
They kill it night's mine.
And for me, there was clear homage to Motorhead in that track. I don't know if I've just got that completely left field, but I could hear a clear Motorhead influence, which was really
I can
cool.
hear that too.
Yeah. And Unholy Ritual, your solos in that are just off their face. I absolutely love that track. It's just a fun, filthy listen. I mean, if people are listening to this and haven't listened to those albums, you need to do it, because you can literally just put it on and let it play, and it just pulverizes you from start to finish. It's so damn good. But I want to know what's the mindset, when you sit down to create such grubby, perfectly violent metal. Walk me through your process, the lyrical inspiration, the need to continue to push your artistic limits, because I clearly heard that push from Spellcaster, which was brilliant, to Murder Seasons. You took it to even more filth with that album. So just talk me through the process.
Well, yeah, the process mainly for us is just being very adult in our daily lives and having to be, responsible with our jobs and having to, and you guys know, we all work jobs and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Especially like when you work with the public like I do, and I've worked through I wrote Murder Season when I'm working retail during the pandemic. So that ought to tell you like a little bit of like the
said enough. So, you said enough.
And you go and I am a nice guy and all that, but you smile, you're polite, and you're like, and then you come home, you're like, fuck, and you just want to turn the amps up and fucking play loud, obnoxious, fast thrash and scream a lot of cuss words and say a lot of shit. So, and it was exactly that. And then we're like, okay, so then I do like to kind of take people on a ride. My thought process is, okay, we've got from song 1 through 5, where are we at? Where do we want to take people? And then I try to get it all together in a nice little package for everybody. And I felt like it came together pretty awesome, So, and we're doing some splits in January actually, and a couple more splits, and then we're going to be touring, playing shows. So just want to keep pushing.
It's all happening. I love with your albums, like for me, it's just this one pace. It's just this obnoxious fast pace with these cool punk shifts. It's like everything that I love to hear in that kind of filthy metal. And I just think you guys do it so fucking well, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
Really
year,
well.
For sure.
It's a big. I was going to ask you as well with the album titles as well, like from Spellcaster to Murder Season. It's like they're worlds apart. What was there a different direction as well with writing?
I tried to give myself I'll purposely sort of give myself a gap in writing. Like, so if I'm like say going to write for another body of music, I'll intentionally not listen to too much of anything else or even think about whatever. And I try to just kind of make it removed. And I think it's just, I just like so much stuff that it just kind of depends on where I'm at mentally when I sit down with the guitar, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So
right.
sometimes it's a bit different and it's shifted because maybe like the mood I'm in is a bit different. But at the end of the day, I don't want it to be so far removed that it's just like, what the fuck? They did like a gospel album or something, you know?
Yeah.
But like, you know, like at least it kind of, you know, I do like the idea of it kind of like taking a movement flowing, you know? So
I suppose a different stage in time with your life as well and different things. You know, I get very motivated by some things that, you know, one part of the time, and then the other, I don't even give a fuck about it and I'll do something else.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's funny enough, like the songs that we made videos of and stuff that we're like, we have to play them because we made videos, like we kind of decided to scrap them from the set. We're just sort of like, I don't know, we've got other shit. Like, so our brains are always kind of like, we're just always
creative. Yeah.
That's exciting for fans because it's that kind of mind that won't let this band be stagnant at any point. And you guys are always active on your socials, and you know, you're one of the good people in the underground that appreciates and reshares and does all that thing. Those things that we all like to see. Hey, Hellwuv, I just wanted to talk to you too. Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to talk to you quickly.
Appreciate you. Yeah, you definitely gave us a very, very kind shout out. So we've been eternally grateful for that. So, and thank you for having our album right by that cool ass Natafrost picture disc. By the way, because I love that Natafrost. That really caught my eye too. I was like, oh shit, she likes that album. I picked that up on tour just because it looks so cool with my old band.
Cool album.
And it's so fucking bizarre and awesome. I was like, whoa, shit. And we're right there in the wall of greats with like Natafrost.
Yeah, that's such a cool wall. I love Natafrost. He's such a perverse, just a perverse artist. And I love everything about him. So yeah, popped you guys up next to him. Let's talk about your record label quickly, Husk Records. What sort of bands do you seek to distribute for? And how important do you think a label such as yourself is within the underground? Because there's so many bands that are wanting to just stay independent now for various reasons. What are some of the bigger challenges that you face as an underground label within the scene?
Well, you know, just of course funding. You know, you do all the legwork, you do all the PR, you do all the whatever. And I do that with the band too. Even if I don't have to be at work till say 11, I'm up at 7 or something doing 2 to 3 hours of. And I don't have to tell you guys because I know you guys do all that stuff too. But it's a lot of just the PR, the content, everything, you know, like aside from the music. And so that's always the challenge. And of course, you know, you fund it yourself. It's your baby. It's everything, every step, you know. And I don't want to make records just for them to collect dust. So I want to have them out in the world. So it's a constant battle just to cut through the muck and all the noise out there, you know. So,
yeah. Was it a driving force when you were talking about all these labels and stuff that sort of, you know, shut you down before, you know, is that the more motivation to actually, you know, to get Husk, you know, on the rails?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been, I've started that label to put up my own stuff like years and years ago. And I've kind of like just sort of let it kind of fall kind of to the wayside a little bit. But then when these other labels are kind of like ghosting us and stuff, I'm like, well, I'll just put my own stuff out. And fuck you. I don't care if people, you know, I know because the fans are there. They're the ones I care about. They're the ones that have bought our stuff.
Yeah.
So I did have a bit of a chip on my shoulder, a little bit, quite honestly. And I had to dig into my own pocket and fund it. But then I paid myself right back when people bought it. And I used the extra to fund the next pressing.
As you do. Smart
pushing
man.
It. Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah. So.
Kudos to you, man. That's awesome. And, you know, on the back of that, like, you know, this is your chance to let the guys, you know, all your fans know, you know, what's coming up for Black Knife in the future. You know, are you working on a new album? You know, with tours and stuff, we've covered that. But yeah, this is your time to plug Black Knife.
Okay, awesome. So in January, we're recording a split with Bastard Cross from Philly.
Yeah.
They've got an Instagram, all that stuff. If anybody wants to check out, they're ripping their way through like the underground scene and stuff over in Philly on the East Coast and just doing all this cool shit. Yeah. And they're doing like a really cool throwback style of just cool ripper, like, you know, thrashy shit meets like Venom, just awesome shit. So we're super excited to work with them. So we're recording a split with them, and we're recording a 4-way split with some other bands I'm not allowed to announce yet. So but it's all from the same session. So all January 22nd,
No.
we have studio time paid for and all that stuff in January, and then immediately right after we're because we haven't played since 2019 because of all the bullshit.
Yeah.
As soon as we're getting ready to play, we lost our drummer right before this last tour, and so we had to replace a drummer. So we had a lot of weird shit happen, but we've got another drummer, a guy from Germany who was in my store where I work shopping, and weirdly enough was talking to the cashier about Black Knife from Germany.
Far out.
He's like,
there you go.
This band, they're from this town. And he was like, you mean that guy's band? And like pointed at
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
How weird is that, right?
That is so weird.
There are like 2 drummers in my town that can play that kind of music. So it was just like weird, cosmic.
It was meant to be.
That is, totally meant to be.
Like, hey, I'm here from Germany and I'm just here. And hey, have you heard Black Knight? And I'm like, who's this fucking guy? So we started jamming with him. He's our drummer now. So
that's incredible.
That is awesome.
You've got Hellwuv, you've got Bast, and now you have the Messermeister. That's German for the knife master. That's him.
Love it.
So he's coming in just kicking ass already. He already knows our songs. We've already wrote 6 new songs with him. So we're recording those in January for these splits. And then we're playing like Asheville, North Carolina, Knoxville. And we're just booking shit tons of shows.
That's fucking exciting.
So it is exciting. And I guess for people that are listening or watching, and, you know, that's why it's so important to follow your socials, because, you know, you'll find out who you're doing this 4-way split with and when all these shows are coming up and where they are. So it's very, very important. Just want to put that out there because I like to drum that down people's throats.
And it's very fucking true. And you're one of the bands that are very active, and you do put a lot of content out. So, and it's, you know, for a fan, it's that's what we want to see. So that's a lesson for all the other bands out there. You know, get active. You know.
Engage.
Engage. And I'm always listening to Matt Bacon, you know, we're mutual friends with.
Yeah.
I'm always taking little pointers from him. He's full of very useful information, you know, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. He's like, you need to be out there more. He says it nonstop. Yeah. And he's right. I mean, because it's a big world with a lot of distraction, you know, people's attention spans are short. And so I'm just annoying, but you can't say I didn't tell you, you know, at least I'm online.
Yeah, no, you do it. You do it very well. You guys do it very, very well.
Well, you must be doing something right. I think your music speaks for yourself, but I'm pretty sure you've got something like 15,000 followers now on Instagram, which is incredible.
Yeah, we're on. Like I said, I never shut up. So I'm just online, just getting on people's nerves a lot and networking and talking.
It's the only way to be.
It's very welcome.
Consistent.
It's very welcome, mate. It's very welcome. It's not like the squeaky wheel. It's something that we want. So, you know, how's to you guys?
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So,
hey, Hellwuv, if we're probably going to wrap this up now, but before we do, this is a good chance to plug any merch that you've got happening at the moment. If albums are still available, I know I've got both of the vinyls and fucking love them. Can we still get those albums on vinyl if they sold out? Give us some info.
Yeah, we've got the new. We did the second press of Murder Season. We've still got a few of those kicking around, and all of our stuff's on Bandcamp. That's probably the best way to find stuff from us. We've got shirts and all that stuff, and we're always trying to like just restock. As CDs sell out, we're usually pretty good about just restocking them and just kind of keeping it pretty stocked as possible.
It's smart. Yeah, it's a smart thing to do.
Bandcamp is the way to go. Yeah. So
excellent. Well, this has been awesome. Really cool to
fucking
talk
fantastic. We're looking forward to this, and it's fucking great to meet you finally.
You too. Yeah, thank you guys. I'm very grateful. So thank you all. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, big hails from Australia, brother.
Yeah, let's catch up again soon when you've got some more things going on down the track. We'd love to catch up with you and get you back on the show.
Yeah, make it a regular.
I'd love to. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Hails, brother.